Ambitious and motivated are words that describe you best. Then you're on the right place. This is Motivational Radio Friends from Paris with your host, Onyi Anyado.
Right, let's walk into leadership.
Yes, sir.
Leadership skills has always been a very vast domain. People are into leadership here and there, training and all sorts of seminars. So in one word, how would you define leadership and what is leadership skills?
Very good question. I think how I would define leadership, or how we at Onyi Anyado Media House define leadership, really is having a global and generational vision impacting the previous, present and future generation. Having a global and generational vision that impacts the previous, present and future generation. For me, that's leadership.
Don't you think this is a tall order?
No. Reason why, I'm in the UK, I've got an iPad. I'm using the iPad. I've actually got an iPad on my lap as I'm relaxing speaking to you.
Okay.
The iPad wasn't made in the United Kingdom. That means that's a global vision. It wasn't made in the UK. So that's one, a global vision. Two, a generational vision. Earlier today, I've done some shopping. I went to Tesco. So it's a supermarket. Tesco was founded in the early 1900s. That's the generational vision. Global and generation. Every day we consume, we buy products and services which are global and generational. Sometimes we don't even realize that. So if we're every day on a daily basis consuming and buying products and services which are global and generational, we ourselves as individuals need to become producers of global and generational visions. Oh yes.
Okay, that's it. So you have to think far. You have to have a very high vision and very far vision.
Without any shadow of a doubt. You have to start small, of course. Start small. Have daily goals, have a small vision, have a short-term vision, but you have to think long-term.
Okay, so these leaders, people who think very far, are they born or made again? I'd like to know, because I'm always very interested in having the skill set or being born with the thing. So are they born or made?
They're definitely made, as I said, ironically enough or sarcastically enough. You're not born with leadership skills in that sense. But you're definitely, I speak from my own experience. As a young man living that particular lifestyle, I was more of a follower. I wasn't really a leader, but now I'm a leader in my own right, or leader in other men's right, and leader by has been ordained from heaven. So in that sense, it's a gradual time. It's how much, once again, how far can you see? How many people do you want to influence positively? So no, to answer your question, leaders are certainly not born. I think they were made by your condition, by your choice, by the environment around you.
Okay, let us say choose our environments, do we? Especially when we are children, we don't choose our environment. More or less, our environment choose us, more or less. But how would you, if you ever see when you grow up, say like 10, 15, and you begin to see that the environment where you live is not very conducive, what do you need to do in that case?
Start dreaming, start seeing yourself, start dreaming new dreams. How can I get out of this? How can I get out of this state? What can I do? Do I need to train more? Do I need to get another job? Do I need to pray more? What do I need to do to take myself to the next level? It's not going to be easy, but you've got to see it to believe.
That you have to see it in your mind first.
Yes, you have to have that mental. You have to have the mental picture. If not, you're just going to see the conditions. And remember, we walk by faith and not by sight.
Right. Is it possible to pray your way?
Sorry?
Is it possible to pray your way to success?
No, you can pray your way to success, but you have to do the diligence as well. Proverbs 22:29 says, "Do you see a man who is diligent in his work?" It didn't say, "Do you see a man who prays?" Prayer is very important for a Christian.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too many Christians are pray, no work.
Yeah, that's it. Because I was just going there. Lots of people pray and believing that prayer just be enough for giving them food. I doubt if it's the thing. Not going to give you food. It's when you work and pray, then you begin to see results, I guess.
Most definitely. For Christians, that is anyway, because there's many successful individuals who don't pray.
Who don't even go to church.
Yeah.
Who do not go to church.
Means work hard. Diligence is a universal principle.
Okay.
Because if a Muslim man or an atheist or a one-legged man doesn't work, they're not going to eat 9 times out of 10.
Now let's go back. Do we have leadership skill sets? If yes, what are they?
I think for me, once again, I think core value, and it's interesting, I think there's not really much of a distinction between my definition of a leader and entrepreneur. Once again, you need to have a clear and defined vision. How far can you see? What can you see? You have to have this resoluteness, this determination to never give up. I heard my story in 2010. I didn't have no money. I didn't have a laptop, but I managed to write. You've got to constantly raise the bar of excellence. How can I improve myself from yesterday, from last month? You've got to be creative. Think outside of there's so much opportunities out there. You have to set daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals. Even if it's waking up half an hour earlier to get to work, that's a daily goal. Tick it off. Got to be got to be creative. As I said, time management. One of the things that I always speak about is time management. One has to know how to manage, master, and maximize their time. Every great leader that we can speak about, I guarantee you, every great entrepreneur that we're inspired by, I guarantee they know how to manage, master, and maximize their time. Manage, master, and maximize their time. I guarantee you.
Is it learnable?
It is. You have to teach yourself. You're the best teacher. You're yourself. And how do you learn? It's by setting goals. So, for example, if someone wants to get into, he's got a lot of work to do in the office, their goal for the week should be, okay, I want to wake up 45 minutes earlier. It might not be easy for the first 2 days, but you've got to learn how to manage yourself, master, clean yourself. Say, hey, let me get off social media. Let me switch off the TV. Let me go to bed early so I can wake up an hour earlier, 45 minutes earlier. Then you get into work, you finish all the upload of work, you have an easy day, you have a great lunch, and you come home and relax. Rather than rushing in at work at 9:30, and then before you know it, the day's finished and you haven't achieved nothing. You go home and you're tired and you're angry. Manage, master, maximize your time. Every human being, white, black, young, old, rich and poor, have many things in common. Many things. One thing every human being has got on this God-given planet is time. 24 hours in a day. In fact, let me go as far as say that the most important currency, the most valuable currency is not the Nigerian naira, it's not the English British pound, it's not the euro, it's not the dollar, it's time. That's the best currency, time.
Because what you do with it determines what you get, isn't it?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And with social media now, sometimes it doesn't help our time management because we can spend tired and it's let me go to sleep. So one has to learn how. Oh yeah, I've been there. One has to learn how to manage, master, maximize their time.
So you're talking from experience, right?
Yes, sir. Most definitely. Everything. It's interesting. In February when I read the definition of an entrepreneur, I didn't realize I was actually speaking about myself. An entrepreneur is a leader of excellence, trailblazer, and pioneer. Constantly brings change to the generation. I never knew I was speaking to myself about myself.
Right. Let's take the word trailblazer, because the trailblazer is somebody who leads by leaving footpaths here and there, walking along and leaving things behind him. Open the road, kind of, where there are no roads. And so, how, as an entrepreneur, could you go into that picture a little bit more by the trailblazer thing? Could you clear the picture for us?
So, for example, I believe 9 times out of 10, or sometimes, trailblazers are unsung heroes. What do I mean? A safari, a group of tourists are going to Kenya. They're going on a safari hunt into the deep bush, and the guide, the Kenyan guide, he's got the big cutlass, the big machete, and they're walking through the bush, and he's cutting the bush. So he's leading the way, but he's bringing people along. So trailblazer is a leader.
An entrepreneur too, right? So,
yes.
What is what I don't catch up here is what's the connection between a trailblazer and an entrepreneur?
Okay, as I said, my definition is a leader of excellence, trailblazer. So you're leading the way. You're leading with excellence in how are leaders of mediocrity. Some people are followers of excellence. Some people are followers of mediocrity. You have to become a leader of excellence and a trailblazer, where you're bringing everyone along with you. You're blazing the trails. You're out front, but you're not just doing it for me, myself, and I. You're doing it for your generation that's coming behind you. That's a trail. You're leaving sign points of distinction, sign points of excellence that people can look at and say, "Oh wow, he wrote a book with no money. Okay, if he can write a book with no money, and I've got money, let me write my. Wow, he traveled. He's doing this. She's doing that. If he done it and he done it like that, I can do it as well." That's a trailblazer, inspiring your generation while you're leading the way, doors, and opening up paths for your generation.
Okay, very wonderful. This is great. We're speaking about leadership development or leadership skills, and for you, leadership skills are the whole thing that we need to really affect our generation. People coming behind us, thinking outside the box, because and then if for any reasons it's not there tomorrow, and then anybody coming behind him cannot sustain that. Are you going to pin that to leadership skills, or what is it?
I think if someone doesn't sustain, for example, what Richard Branson done, they didn't catch the vision. They didn't catch or understand the vision. They didn't catch Richard Branson's fire, his distinction, his uniqueness. And if let's just say you're part of his family, part of his close friends, or leaders under Richard Branson, if you cannot catch this man's vision, but someone like myself has caught it, then they don't deserve to be in that position. So it's a two-pronged theory, really. The visionary leader, Richard Branson, has to make sure writes the vision, makes it plain for every leader to run with, understand it on a day-to-day basis. Then at the same time, the followers who are the leaders and the second in command have to really catch that fire and understand Richard Branson's vision is all about.
Okay, impact coaching.
Okay, I mean, as I said, leadership and entrepreneurship is quite for me anyway. As the man I am, I like to intertwine it between. And now is the time to become a pace setter in your generation. Become a leader in your chosen field. If you're a barber, if you're a hairdresser, if you're a doctor, if you're an entrepreneur, if you own your own accounting firm, this is the time to become a leader in your chosen field, to become that reference point of excellence for your generation, for your community, for your nation, for the world. Now is the time.
Okay, so this is the time to act. Now is the time to act to become a reference point.
Oh yes, for your a reference point of excellence for your generation. Lead the way. Become a trailblazer. Become a pioneer. Do what no one in your generation is doing. And people are not going to like you. That's the funny thing I like about it. But hey, if you're poor, people are going to talk. If you're rich, people are going to talk. If you're not doing anything, people are going to talk. If you do something, people are going to talk. Now is the time.
This podcast was brought to you by the Motivational Radio France with their host, Onyi Anyado in Paris.